Alright, welcome back, boys. Welcome back. Yeah, want to see a magic trick? Bam. Whoa. That's right, all over Zaya, just like that, as many times as I want. And after plundering that stone chest for goodness knows how long, we got those 5,000 Lizardman Fangs to mount the Xerix Talisman to the wall. And in doing so, we also got 91 Thieving to go to the highest level in Pyramid Plunder, which brings me to the next exhibition in my magic show. Bam! How cool is that? That's right, after setting myself up mentally to go dry in the desert, both literally and figuratively, we got completely spooned on the Pharaoh Scepter. Actually, it's pretty funny. After I got the first one, I was cooking up this whole plan to do the Desert Hard Diary, because a while back there was an update where you can get additional teleports for the Pharaoh Scepter based on how many achievement diaries you have done, and having the Hard Diary means you can hold significantly more charges, and it means you can use the teleport to go right to the start of the entrance each time, instead of finding the entrance again after each round, which speeds up the whole process a lot. And, you know, along that line of thinking, I even started doing some of the desert quests, like I did Contact Beneath Cursed Sands, which I'd never done in my life. I still haven't done TOA even now, so that was the first time I've ever done the quest. I even tried getting a couple of flinch kills with the Cowfight Queen using my kind of mediocre gear setup. I don't think I have any recording footage of that one, but let's say there's room for improvement. But then after I got the first scepter pretty quickly, I still had a full inventory of anti-poisons, and I'm like, well, can't let these go to waste. They cost like 400 GP a pop, so I'll finish doing like this inventory, clear it out, and I'll go double down on it later. And I got the second one later that same day. And, you know, in some ways, I was even a little bit sorry to get it so quickly, just because Pyramid Plunder is really, really good thieving XP. It's not I wouldn't say it's fun, but it's kind of chill once you get into the right sort of rhythm. I've got the Runite plugin, which, like everything else, makes it totally brain dead. It just highlights everywhere you need to click. Getting the second scepter isn't as much of a big deal as the first. Getting the first scepter is an absolute game changer, because being able to swap spellbooks at any time at the player-owned house is absolutely huge. The second one is really just useful, for me at least, for the Master Clue stash unit. If I ever want to complete that clue step. I guess it does also mean I have a Pharaoh Scepter now, sort of stored, if I ever do want to do some activity that needs some of those teleports. So yeah, it was definitely nice to get. And I wanted to keep going to 94 thieving. That was the other goal, because the next stage in this elaborately complex chain of events is I want to start pickpocketing master farmers, to start training farming, to start training herb lore, and with 94 thieving, you no longer fail master farmers, just making it a whole lot better. So I wanted to get that level. That brings me to the next activity I was doing, though, and that was also in the name of clearing out the inventory. I have all of these house keys for the new thieving method in Balamore. And I gotta say, I love this new thieving method. I mean, critics could again cry it's easy skate, because it is very, very laid back. It's not revolutionary XP, but I'd say it's disproportionately good XP for how easy it is. But it's super AFK, which fits my playstyle perfectly. Look, the reason I'm able to sink thousands of hours into OSRS while also trying to juggle what can sometimes be quite a demanding job. I'm doing my postgraduate studies. I'm still trying to get into amateur powerlifting and taking those goals quite seriously. And I can do all that while also playing a ton of OSRS, is because I'm always playing it on the side. It's definitely a second monitor kind of game. And this new thieving method is absolutely perfect for that, and it fits right in with that kind of playstyle. And I still think of it as relatively new. I mean, it's been in the game for a few months now. I still think of it as quite new. I'll give a brief rundown on it. The way it works is first you need to collect the keys. You do this by hanging around the marketplace, and you wait for one of these little urchins to distract a wealthy citizen. They do that either by busting out some truly sick dance moves, or else they do a spot-on impression of a FIFA football player. And while they do that, you get a free all-you-can-eat buffet on the pockets of the wealthy citizens. So one click and then it just auto keeps going, and it's impossible to fail. With that, you get a little bit of money, but then you also get these house keys. And once you have a decent stack of keys and the little street urchins are all danced out, you move on to phase 2 of the operation. And you do this there are a few different houses around, 3 different houses around the city. And at any one time, there's going to be one of the citizens will leave their house, and you use each key as single use. It breaks as you enter. The key breaks off in the lock as you enter. So each key in the stack is essentially one entry to a house. And then there's several just things you can loot from. There are wardrobes, jewelry cases, chests, and like the pickpocketing, it's you just click once and then it keeps going. Again, it's about 45 XP per thief per cycle, which again isn't, I mean, Pyramid Plunder, if you're going for XP per hour, is going to be a lot more. But Pyramid Plunder, you got to pay attention, you got to click on stuff. Sometimes there's a scary mummy that comes out of the chest in the middle. You know, it's a whole thing. Whereas this, you just sit back and relax, take it easy. Again, Runelight makes it brainless. It's got a Volamore thieving plugin. So I get a little like pop-up alert before the homeowner comes home as well now. So even if you're not paying attention, you still get drawn back to it just in time. And even if you get caught, it's pretty low stakes. I mean, all that happens is you lose a few of the trinkets you got, but you only lose the trinkets from that most recent house that you were caught in, not your whole stack. So sometimes it hardly matters, even if you get caught or not. The GP per hour is okay again. So once you've got all of these valuables, which also stack, you can turn them into this NPC here for a bit of money. I think it's maybe works out to about 100k an hour. I mean, it's a nice little bonus, but it's not why you do it. But again, it's so easy. And occasionally you get like other things which don't stack, like you get the little sapphire jewelry and necklaces and that sort of thing, which you can just alch, but that all happens very slowly, so you don't even need to clear out your inventory like with some of the other thieving methods. And as a little extra bonus, when you're actually going for the keys and pickpocketing the wealthy citizens in the market, it's actually a really, really good odds to get easy clues, and it's a great way to stack those up. Especially with the game changes where clue scrolls now take an hour to despawn once you've got them. Many you can leave a whole bunch of them on the ground. I don't really need anything from the easy clues anymore. Getting a full vestment set would be nice. I'm still thinking maybe if I'm ever doing bursting or barraging, vestment would be good. I've even got a couple of pieces. I've got a couple of half-finished sets in the player-owned house, and a couple of pieces that I'm still hanging on to in the looting bag. But of course, being a UIM, I need the full set if I'm going to take it out of the player-owned house once I've got the stashes. And then I can also get things like they've got the God book pages, which you can get from any clue scroll, including easy. Getting the Armadillo book, or even the Book of Darkness, which is the mage bonus, would be really, really nice. I mean, I've got the Defender for offhand for melee stuff. I mean, the Armadillo book isn't like absolute best in slot in terms of like offhand for range, but considering how easy, it's essentially storable because you can reclaim it as many times as you want for free from the guy after you finish the Lighthouse quest. And even when you fill the books, if you put a page in the book and you drop the book, when you reclaim it, it'll still have that page in it. So it's actually a pretty realistic goal to try to complete some of these books. And I think with the Armadillo one, I'm only one page off. And that'll be huge. I think with the Armadillo one, I'm still only one page off. And that'll be absolutely huge because I'm still using the rune crossbow as my main range weapon. And of course, I've got my other hand just doing absolutely nothing. So there's, between that, finishing the God books and getting the vestment, there's a few things I'd like from easy clues. And again, actually, that's a really good segue. You'll remember in the last video, I was going for this big clue stacking. While I was thieving from the chests, I was getting a lot of easies and also a lot of mediums. I got this face mask and some manacles to wear to my next BDSM sex party. But I transferred pretty much everything else that I couldn't store over to the main. If you remember, I had this whole big brain plan because I had all of these things I wanted to trade over. Not just the clue items, I had the Numalite stack from AFKing at rock crabs. When I was thieving from the stone chest, I was getting these Onyx bolt tips, which were worth a bit, and the plan was to hand them all over to the main, break even for the cost of buying a bond, essentially get some free playtime. Now, here's the thing about a lot of genius ideas. Sometimes they just don't work out. Even with all of that loot, with this big stack of medium clue scroll openings, everything, Numalite, Onyx, still is only about 6 mil. And bonds, talk about fucking cost of living crisis and out of control inflation. Bonds are almost 14 mil now. So, well and truly came out behind on that one. Big flop. Of course, it's a main account, so if I ever want more gold, I can just ask Mum to borrow her credit card, so it's not a huge deal. Anyway, I'm well and truly past 94 thieving that I need for the Master Farmers. Well on the way to hitting 95, and I'm just finding it hard to tear myself away from the Valamore houses. And another reason for this is because collecting the house keys has given me a chance to work on another goal for the account, which is 91 fletching. 91 fletching is boostable to 95 fletching with a dragon fruit pie, and it is a Desert Diary elite task to flesh some dragon darts in the desert. I've been carrying around these dragon dart tips in anticipation of completing this diary task for God knows how long. Back when I was looting in the Zaya underground dungeon to get dragon bones and training player, you can get dragon bolt tips dragon dart tips, from the chest there, and I've been carrying them around the looting bag ever since, wasting valuable real estate. I've also been saving my dragon fruit seeds in anticipation of cooking the dragon fruit pie. So that's two looting bag slots right there. Plus I've been carrying around all of these unfinished arrow shafts, so at least 3 and part of the reason I was doing that was in anticipation of training fletching. so that's at least 3 shots. And when you're collecting the house keys, it's also a really good time to train fletching, because there's a little bit of downtime between each distraction when you can loot the keys. There's a little bit where you're just standing there doing nothing, and it's a good time to do something like fletching and get that experience in. While I've been doing fletching, I've also been doing a bit of questing and trying to create complete more of the diary tasks, just because really anything that you need to run around a lot and doesn't require a whole heap of inventory space, it's going to cost a fair bit of money. I might even need to sell off, God forbid, some of the blood runes from my 440k stack, but it will be really, really nice to be able to get that diary task done at long last. And finally, look, the other reason that I'm finding it difficult to tear myself away from Valamore thieving is just the friends you make along the way. I've had some truly memorable interaction. Some of the best and brightest minds in the community come here. High levels of discourse, really thought-provoking discussions that make you reflect not only on yourself, but sort of more broadly on social issues, where we're going with this. What's the purpose of it all, really? The human experience, I'd say. And you can't put a price on that, or the lifelong friendships you make along the way, really. In an MMO, that's what it's really about, to be honest. In an MMO, the reason you play, it's a sense of community. Anyway, guys, that's really it for this one. Thanks anyone who stuck around to the end. I always really appreciate anybody who takes the time to listen to my silly little RuneScape rambles. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you in the next one.